This is with KStrip bypassed.
Yeah, well, it's that song you hear the wind play. It's that walking home from 5th grade, new fit that got you sharper than a switchblade.
And this is with KStrip engaged.
Yeah, well, it's that song you hear the wind play. It's that walking home from 5th grade, new fit that got you sharper than a switchblade. And it's that coffee and a thrift day.
Wow. Okay. Kive did it again. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Kive audio channel. My name is Luke Diamond. I'm an audio engineer and producer, and today we're diving into the brand new KStrip plugin from Kive Audio. KStrip is a vintage-inspired channel strip that brings three classic flavors of EQ, compression, and saturation into one big, powerful tool with some added bonus features as well. Today we're going to be using it on some vocals, and you could hear for yourself and decide whether or not this one makes it into your tool belt. Onto your tool belt, and whatever. But anyways, super quickly, let's show off the plugin. KStrip is modeled after classic hardware channel strips, combining preamp saturation for rich harmonic character, 4-band EQ with really smooth analog curves. You have your dynamics or your compression, stereo width adjustment, a gate, and even some transient adjustments. This is a powerhouse of a plugin, and today I'll be showing it on a rap vocal, but it is also insanely good on drums, guitars, and really basically anything else you put it on. So let's dive into the session. All right, so firstly, we're just going to listen to the vocals. The only thing I have on here is trims, which I put on basically every audio source, especially during the recording process. So these are raw vocals, and just so you can see that I'm not doing any tricks, we are just going to an all Vox bus, which is right here. Again, just has a trim on it, just my default. All right, let's listen.
Yeah, well, it's that song you hear the wind play. It's that walking home from 5th grade, new fit that got you sharper than a switchblade.
All right, and we'll start with a lead vocal to glue this all together.
Yeah, well, it's that song you hear the wind play. It's that walking home from 5th grade, new fit that got you sharper than a switchblade. And it's that coffee and a thrift day, that catching up with family, get to talking about how things great. And homie, this that hanging out the sunroof. And it's that bad bitch who's saying you can come through. And it's the day you go from 1, 2 to 3, 4. And it's that breeze that you can feel right through your screen door. Yeah, and it's that running late for work from getting coffee and a thrift day, that catching up with family, get to talking about how things great. And homie, this that hanging out.
It's so crazy how much that brings it forward. Yeah, we're sticking with the S. That sounds really good. I trimmed it back a little bit. There might be a little bit of a loudness situation there, but I don't care because it sounds good. That's all I care about. And next we'll move on to EQ. Just around 10K is probably where I'm gonna want to boost, but let's listen.
Yeah, well, it's that song you hear the wind play. It's that walking home from 5th grade, new fit that got you sharper than a switchblade. And it's that coffee and a thrift day, that catching up with family, get to talking about how things great. And homie, this that hanging out the sunroof. And it's that bad bitch who's saying you can come through.
It is crazy how fast you can dial on a good sound with just really basic setups like this. I mean, we only have 4 bands we're working with.
Yeah, well, it's that song you hear the wind play. It's that walking home from 5th grade, new fit that got you sharper than a switchblade. And it's that coffee and a thrift day.
And right there, I just cut around 3K just to kind of dial back some of the really harsh frequencies I was hearing.
Yeah, well, it's that song you hear the wind play. It's that walking home from 5th grade, new fit that got you sharper than a switchblade. And it's that coffee and a thrift day, that catching up with family, get to talking about how things great. And homie, this that hanging out the sunroof.
And then next here, I'm cutting at like 500-ish, just kind of that like boxy look, muffled frequency. Just cutting a lot of that out. Well, not a lot, just about at 1 dB. And then I'm making back some of that like low-end body at like 160.
Yeah, well, it's that song you hear the wind play. It's that walking home from 5th grade, new fit that got you sharper than a switchblade.
And then I'm going to dial in this high-pass filter as well.
Yeah, well, it's that song you hear the wind play. It's that walking home from 5th grade, new fit that got you sharper than a switchblade.
All right, now we can move on to compression.
Yeah, well, it's that song you hear the wind play. It's that walking home from 5th grade, new fit that got you sharper than a switchblade. And it's that coffee and a thrift day, that catching up with family, get to talking about how things great. And homie, this that hanging out the sunroof. And it's that bad bitch who's saying you can come through. And it's the day you go from 1, 2 to 3, 4.
So I'll almost always go for a slow attack on a rap vocal like this, just to let that aggression and those transients come through. I might slow down the release here just to see how it sounds.
Yeah, well, it's that song you hear the wind play. It's that walking home from 5th grade, new fit that got you sharper than a switchblade.
That really just added the lift to the vocal that I needed. And my rule of thumb with compression is if you can absolutely slam a vocal with the compressor and it sounds really good, then it's just a good compressor. That's just it. Let's listen to a before and after. Before.
Yeah, well, it's that song you hear the wind play. It's that walking home from 5th grade, new fit that got you sharper than a switchblade. And it's that coffee and a thrift day, that catching up with family, get to talking about how things great.
All right, so we have a lot of gain reduction here happening on the vocal. I'm going to dial in the sidechain compression to make sure that the low mids and the low end on the vocal aren't actually just triggering the compressor like crazy. So let's do some filtering here.
Yeah, well, it's that song you hear the wind play. It's that walking home from 5th grade, new fit that got you sharper than a switchblade. And it's that coffee and a thrift day, that catching up with family, get to talking about how things great. And homie, this that hanging out the sunroof. And this that bad bitch.
KStrip is giving it that lift. It's giving it that tonality that really just makes it stand out, makes it shine over the beat. And I really, really love that. So, and for the background vocals, we just have these kind of hard panned, like ad-lib singy parts. And I'm going to be processing those a little different. I am going to solo the background vocals just to hear what we're doing to them.
You hear the wind play. You hear the wind play.
Filter that out.
You hear the wind play. 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 You hear the wind play.
Ooh, that's nice.
You hear the wind play.
I'm cutting out quite a bit of low end. I did a high pass filter at about 200 hertz because these do live on the sides of the mix, and I really don't want to cloud up the sides of the mix with just like low mids and just lows. Added quite a bit of saturation, added some even harmonics, and then I just trimmed it back so we're not affecting too much of our like fader mix that we had before. Adding about 3 dB of that top end 10K crisp.
Wind play. You hear the wind play. It's that walking wind play. You hear the wind play. You hear the wind play. You hear the wind play.
And I'm going to dial that back a little bit because that is just sometimes a little bit unpleasant to hear just like that.
You hear the wind play.
And then now I hear too much boxiness, so we'll dial that back.
You hear the wind play. You hear the wind play. You hear the wind play.
And then there's another high pass filter at the bottom of the EQ section, so I'm going to go ahead and just dial that in.
You hear the wind play.
All right, now for compression, let's try a different compressor. Let's try the S style one.
You hear the wind play. You hear the wind play.
Is that 4 to 1? 4 to 1.
You hear the wind play.
And again, I'm just going to automatically do the sidechain filter here.
You hear the wind play. You hear the wind play. You hear the wind play. You hear the wind play.
I know I just skipped ahead to the gate section, but I saw it and my brain just told me I needed to do it, and I'm glad that I did because it just sounds so much cleaner. All right, I'm going to copy it down to the next one. We'll listen in context.
Wind play. This that walking home from 5th grade, new fit that got you sharper than a switchblade. And this that coffee and a thrift day.
I love that. What was the before?
You hear the wind play. This that walking home from 5th grade, new fit that got you sharper than a switchblade. And this that coffee.
With the plug-in on?
You hear the wind play. This that walking home from 5th grade, new fit that got you sharper than a switchblade. And this that coffee and a thrift.
It's crazy how much that cleaned up like the stereo image of just the vocal performance as a whole. It was very like bassy on the outsides, and those vocals kind of got lost a little bit. But now they're they feel a little bit more centered, but they're still panned, but they're still letting the lead vocal breathe, and they just sound a lot cleaner. I really love that. Next, we had this like ad-lib style vocal.
This that hanging out the sunroof. And this that bad bitch who saying you can come through. And this the day you go from one.
So once again, we're going to load KStrip on there, and we're going to do some really cool ad-lib style processing to it. All right, so we'll start with some saturation.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
All right, screw it. I cranked it all the way, added some odd harmonics, and then trimmed it back. And I'm going to go ahead and just filter the bottom end.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
There we go. Sweet. See how it sounds before?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Buttery smooth. I love the sound of that saturation. I can't believe I cranked it and it still sounds good. Love that. All right, so thus far, I think we've only used the N-style EQ. Let's switch it over to the S-style EQ and mess with it here.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So for that like Adlib style background vocal, I'm going to boost around like 4K.
Yeah.
And then for low frequencies, we're going to go ahead and just cut out a lot of low end.
Yeah.
I promise you I don't mix with everything soloed. I'm just doing this to show you how this sounds. Oh, and one thing I forgot to mention, you can actually change the order of the modules. So I could put the compression before the EQ if I wanted to, which I actually think I'm going to do in this case. So, all right, and we're going to go with the A style compressor. I'm going to absolutely just crank it.
Yeah.
Now, this is obviously really, really dramatic compression, but for a vocal like this, I don't see anything wrong with it. So let's just see how it sounds in the mix.
Hanging out the sunroof. Yeah. And it's that bad bitch you saying you can come through. Yeah. And it's the day you go from one.
This was before?
Hanging out the sunroof. Yeah. And it's that bad bitch you saying you can come through. Yeah. And it's the day you.
And after.
Hanging out the sunroof. Yeah. And it's that bad bitch you saying you can come through. Yeah. And it's the day you go from 1, 2 to 3.
I could probably dial back the makeup gain a little bit.
Hanging out the sunroof. Yeah. And it's that bad bitch you saying you can come through. Yeah. And it's the day you go from.
Yeah, that sounds really good. Again, this was before. This is the raw vocal.
Yeah, well, it's that song you hear the wind play. It's that walking home from 5th grade, new fit that got you sharper than a switchblade. And it's that coffee and a thrift day.
And then this is with KStrip enabled.
Yeah, well, it's that song you hear the wind play. It's that walking home from 5th grade, new fit that got you sharper than a switchblade. And it's that coffee and a thrift day, that catching up with family, get to talking about how things great. And homie, this that hanging out the sunroof. And it's that bad bitch you saying you can come through. And it's the day you go from 1, 2 to 3, 4. And it's that breeze that you can feel right through your screen door.
Overall, KStrip is an all-in-one tool that saves time and just sounds amazing, quite frankly. If you're looking for analog warmth and just a variety of different flavors and types of processing all in one centralized plugin, this is definitely worth checking out. But enough yapping for me. I want to know what you guys think. Is KStrip making it into your toolkit? Let us know in the comments below, and I'll be seeing you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching, and thanks, Kai, for having me. Make sure you guys like and subscribe, because I look like a thumb from Spy Kids, and you feel bad for me. KStrip is sick.